Right there.
מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. בים 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 בם, בים 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 בם, צ'ירי בירי בירי בים בם, בים 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 בם, בים 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 bam.
You guys know this part?
Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom.
Hi.
Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, shiri biri biri bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat
shalom.
We're all here with the hundreds of people that are online, praying, opening their hearts to Shabbat. You know, as we usher in this last Shabbat of the year, which it is a 5781, just take a moment to reflect on all that you've gone through over this last 12 months. Whether it's been health concerns of your own or family members, financial stress, loneliness, or endless lockdowns, struggling to balance work and children, many of us were pushed far past what we thought was our breaking point. There were parts of life that squeezed out every bit of our energy and threatened to break every bone in our body. And there was, at least for me, and maybe for some of you too, so many blessings that also came in these last 12 months. Gifts that came flowing like water, bringing joy and calm into our lives, precious family time, change of pace, for many of us not having to commute, and also continuing to find ways to celebrate our Jewish souls together in unprecedented ways. This is a moment where we're gathering together on the Shabbat before the holidays. And it's really a time of great power. There's a tradition in Kabbalah, in our mystical tradition, of Gilgulim, or reincarnation, that we actually go through many different lives. You think that you were born how many years ago? Well, there was a lot of journeys, according to these traditions, that we even took before that time. And the thing about it, says the late Lubavitcher Rebbe, is that you don't have to wait for your next life to start a new incarnation. Every moment, but especially every High Holy Days, is an opportunity to be a new person. To be able to say, what do I want to bring forward in this year that I do not have to be bound by what has happened before? I have the opportunity to reset. And Shabbat is really that time. It's that time where we come back into the openness, into this place of presence and being, and imagine, who is it that we want to be? What's the kind of life that we want to live? What's the quality of the life that we want to live? There's also a tradition that says that this particular Shabbat, how you live this Shabbat, from tonight all the way until sundown tomorrow, is going to set the tone for every Shabbat that you're going to have this coming year. So if that's the case, how do you want to live this Shabbat? What's going to be the quality? What's going to be the mix of connections and family? What's going to be the mix of solitude and quiet time? What's going to be the mix of fun and good food? This is the opportunity that we have this Shabbat to make it count. We're going to all stand in just a moment so that we can bring in Shabbat by lighting candles together. And the custom of why we have two candles, Kim, you want to help us out here? Why we have two candles is because they represent kind of the two wings of Shabbat. How Shabbat is mentioned in the Torah, Zachor and Shamor. Remember Shabbat and guard Shabbat. Remember Shabbat, can we tune into being in this moment in a way that remembers who we are in our deepest sense, that feels peace and depth? And Shamor, what can we do to preserve this space, to guard it? So please stand as we bring in our Shabbat together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Open our eyes and see a whole different world. And we're all different. We're starting our new incarnation tonight. You'll find this in your prayer book on page 10.
To God, the maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of our nation from mountain to sea hear her song. Lechon et Adonai, Yishenu, Yain Hai Lai Lai Lai, for all of the wonder and all of God's joy, we rejoice. So now let us listen with all of our heart to hear God's voice. Lechu neranena, Yain Lai 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 Lai, LaAdonai, Yain Lai 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 Lai, Litzor Yiduriyah, Yain Lai 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 Lai, Litzor Yishenu, Yain Lai 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 Lai, Yain Lai 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 Lai, Yain Lai 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 Lai.
The Chadodi is on page 18.
Yalalalai l'chadodi, yalalalai l'krakala, yalalalai b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, yalalalai l'chadodi, yalalalai l'krakala, yalalalai b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ki hishmianu elam yuchad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, L'shemo tiferet, v'litzilah, Yalalai, yalalalai l'chadodi, yalalalai l'krat kala, yalalalai b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat nikah, yalalalai l'chadodi, yalalalai l'krat kala, yalalalai b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Likrat Shabbat, lechu v'nelcha, Ki mikor
It's the source of blessing.
V'rosh mikedem nesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tehila, Yalalai, yalalalai l'chadodi, yalalalai l'krat kala, yalalalai b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat nikah, yalalalai l'chadodi, yalalalai l'krat kala, yalalalai b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat nikabela.
Page 19, verse 5.
Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva orech, kumi ori, uri, uri, shir daveri, kavod Adonai, Allah yachtig Allah. Yalalala likrat kala. Yalalala b'nei Shabbat. B'nei Shabbat nikabela.
We greet the Shabbat bride, the presence of peace.
Boi v'shalom ateret v'la.
This is the last verse.
Gam besimcha uv'tzolam toch emuneh am segulam boi kala boi kala yalalala lakadodi yalalala likrat kala yalalala b'nei Shabbat b'nei Shabbat nikah yalalala lakadodi yalalala likrat kala yalalala b'nei Shabbat b'nei Shabbat nikah bela.
As we get ready to enter into our evening service, we're aware that some of us who are here in the sanctuary or online are feeling the loss of a loved one, whether it's a yard site or just as we get closer to the holidays, that we're feeling the people that we care about. We say to you, Hamakom Yenachem Etchem, may the Holy One comfort you, and you find peace and presence in Shabbat and the comfort of community. Chatzi Kaddish is on page 22.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בילמד יברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולם מעולמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקדושה ברכו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן ביומה ואמרו אמן. יאי לי לי יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 יאי לי
You may be seated. We're on page 26, God of Creation.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidbaro mariv aravim bechokma moteach she'arim. God of creation, who makes the evening fall from light into darkness with the setting of the sun. You unfold the heavens with brilliant moon and stars, and wrap our souls with peace. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidbaro mariv aravim bechokma moteach she'arim. Baruch atah Adonai Mariv Aravim.
Page 27.
Avat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha אתה Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadecha Malkein Adonai Eloheinu B'shochreinu u'b'komeinu Nasiach b'chukecha ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו, באורך ימינו, ובהם נגן יומם ולילה, יומם ולילה. קרבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, ברכו שמו, אוהב עמו ישראל.
This time I want to invite you, if it is your custom, to rise for Shema. Many of you may not know that this melody, which has become such a traditional part of how we pray, has been around for over 100 years and is still relevant. It's the melody I use to sing to my kids at night, still to this day. And we find new ways of praying and connecting, even taking things that are what seem so ancient and making them relevant and making them ours. So some of you may be familiar. I taught this last week, a couple weeks ago, I don't even remember when, sign language for Shema. And in this day and age where we cannot see all of one another, how is it that we can listen? Shema calls upon us to listen. And we're so used to listening with what people say and listening with our ears. And sometimes there are boundaries in the way that prevent us from really listening with our ears. So through this sign language, we're really invited to pay attention with our whole being. And as we greet each other for Shabbat, as we greet each other for the new year, to really pay attention when we are greeting people, to look at one another in the eyes and take that moment for deeper connection than just passing by. So follow me for Shema. Shema. Yisrael is with our pinky across the chin, and we bring the people of Israel together. Yisrael. And God is everywhere. Adonai. And in us. Eloheinu. Adonai. Echad. Let's do that one more time together. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Thank you. Please be seated. We continue together with the Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levacha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meotecha ve'hayu הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אמת.
מי כמוך באלים
Page 37.
מי כמוך נהדר בקודש תורתהי לו אוסף אלה מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נהדר בקודש תורתהי לו אוסף אלה
ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Page 39. We're just going to do the third line. Uferos aleinu sukat, sukat, shelomecha, uferos aleinu sukat, sukat, shelomecha. Yalai, lai, lai, yalai, lai, lai, yalai, lai, lai, la, 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 lai, 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 yalai, lai, lai, yalai, lai, lai, yalai, lai, lai, la, lai, 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 lai. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 41, Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם.
ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם.
כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם.
וביום השביעי
That's today.
שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם.
This year, one of my favorite Rosh Hashanah stories, I shared it on Slichot, is all the folks that were trying out to be the shofar blower for the Baal Shem Tov, the great spiritual master of the 19th century, 18th century. They practiced, in order to become the shofar blower for the Baal Shem Tov, you had to practice these mystical intentions, meditations that go with each one of the shofar notes and calls, and practice it so when you're blowing the shofar, it's like you're opening other worlds with the sounds. And so people practiced and they got ready to try out for the Baal Shem Tov for this coveted position. And one man came in front for his audition with the Baal Shem Tov, and he was so in awe of this spiritual giant. I mean, it was like incredible to be in the Baal Shem Tov's presence. He forgot all of everything he had practiced, all the meditations and the ideas, they just all went out of his mind. And he just immediately realized, I've blown it. That my one chance, I blew it. And he just collapsed in tears in front of the holy Baal Shem. And the Baal Shem kind of lifts up his chin and says, "You're hired." I said, "What? What do you mean I'm hired? I didn't even do anything." He said, "It is well known that all of these meditations that you've been practicing, these mystical ideas, these are like keys that open up doors of the palace to the inner presence of God. But there is another way to get to that inner presence, and that is the axe. The axe that chops down all the doors. And the axe is a broken heart. The axe is your tears. The axe is when you come with your full vulnerability, when you stop having to guard, having to pretend, having to hold it all together, and you just open up to that, to the moment, to the presence. That's where we find God. We find it in our vulnerability. And we're about to get ready for our silent prayer, and the way that we're going to do it is kind of a setting that Cantor Young and Kim are going to do together that merges together two different psalms. One of the psalms is from Psalm 27, which is traditional for this season, which translates as "one thing I ask for, one thing I pray, to be in your presence, God, all the days of my life." To not have to hold this guard against you and other people. And then the second psalm is Esa Enai, Psalm 121. "I lift up my eyes to the mountain, from where do I find my help? My help comes from the Holy One, creator of heaven and earth." It takes a lot of courage to ask for help. And when we come to this season, if we really want this to be a transformative season for us, if we really want to break out of old patterns and begin a new incarnation, a new life, we need to be willing to let it go, to be vulnerable, and to ask for help. Right after this piece, we'll go right into our silent Amidah, and I'll give you those instructions then. Please stand for the Amidah prayer. And You have two options for the Amidah. You can pray the words in the prayer book, which is between page 45 and page 58, and take your time. Or you can focus on this one prompt. The question is, what do you want to let go of in this new year? And what are the things that you want to focus your energy on? What are the things you want to let go of? And what are the things you want to focus your energy on? We'll take just a few minutes of silence, and then when you're finished, you can be seated. Take your time finishing. We're on page 58.
Shalom על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם.
Shabbat Shalom. Thanks everybody for coming out or tuning in on this last Shabbat of the year. As we know, this Monday night is Rosh Hashanah, a time of renewal, a time of renewing our vision to where we want to grow and who we want to be, a time of commitment to making choices that will help us get there. And how many New Year's resolutions have we made that we never followed through on? Why? We can find a key in this week's Torah portion. Over and over again in Parshat Nitzavim, Moses uses the word today, hayom, 8 different times. Obviously, Moses' message is urgent. The people are about to enter the promised land, and he wants people to realize that living in the land means that they have a covenant, a relationship with God. A midrash, a commentary from the Zohar, which is a mystical commentary on the Torah, says that when Moses says today, he's referring to Rosh Hashanah. And not only that, every time the Torah itself says the word today, it's referring to Rosh Hashanah. Because what Rosh Hashanah is about is immediacy. It's a call to action, not for some time in the future, but today. In the Midrash, Rosh Hashanah is the day of creation of human beings, the 6th day. And with the creation of human beings came the creation of choice. Adam, had the choice between eternal life in the garden and death outside the garden. And when he ate of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, he chose death. This is one of the reasons why Rosh Hashanah is called Yom Hadin, a day of judgment. But if we strip away the connotations of criticism and negativity that usually comes from with the word judgment, we see that our world and our lives could not exist without judgment. Judgment is the process of how we navigate a world of multiplicity and form. We employ judgment in every choice, every decision we make. When we look in the world, we say yes to some things and no to others. We make judgments. Whether it's the creation of a piece of art, I'll choose these colors and draw a line like this and not that, or whether it's the creation of our lives. I'll go to synagogue this year for Rosh Hashanah. Like God, din, or judgment, is the medium that we use to create. In this section of the Torah, Moses has the people make a new covenant with God. Previously, all the covenants before were defined by, if you follow my ways and make these specific choices, then I'll do these great things for you. And if not, I'll do these bad things. In the past, the covenant was not focused on Israel, but on what God would do. And now, the covenant is about Israel, the people Israel, exercising their power of choice. As it says in this week's Parsha, today I have put before you life and death, blessing and curse. I have given you choice. Any time that we become radically present, that we pull away from all memories of the past and all the fantasies of the future, any time we put our attention on today, this moment, we realize that every choice we make creates a path of life or a path of death, a path of health or a path of sickness, either on physical, emotional, or spiritual levels. It's the awareness of today that is Rosh Hashanah that allows us to fully take responsibility for our choices. Why didn't I choose to follow through on my New Year's resolution last year? It wasn't that I chose to work out at the gym 3 days a week and it was just too hard to get up in the morning. I chose every morning to stay in bed that extra 40 minutes because sleep was important to me. It wasn't that I didn't have time to prioritize certain relationships. Instead, I chose to spend more time at work or on various projects. To enter into a covenant with God means to claim full responsibility for our choices. Today, I have put before you blessing and curse, life and death. And then the next part of the verse is what could be called the meta mitzvah of the entire Torah, the overarching commandment for actualizing one's relationship with God. The next part of the verse says, choose life so that you and your offspring will live. Here's a story of a rebellious child who wanted to prove how much smarter he was than the rabbi. He caught a bird and he held it in his hand, covering it completely. He put his hands before the rabbi and he said, "If you're so smart, Rabbi, is the bird alive or dead?" He knew that he would win no matter what answer the rabbi gave. If the rabbi said dead, he would open it and show it alive. But if the rabbi said alive, he would crush it and show it dead. The rabbi saw his plan and said, "That, my dear child, is up to you." This new year, let's realize that in every moment and in this very moment, we have a choice. With our choices, we create worlds. What worlds will we create? One of the choices that we have is how we'll relate to some of the horrors and the tragedies that are going on in the world. As many of us know, this week, the last of the US military was pulled out of Afghanistan, which is now run by the Taliban, an ultra-conservative Islamic terrorist group. There are heartbreaking stories of women, children, and families who are trying to escape for a better life. Heartbreaking stories of American soldiers who died in Afghanistan. Temple Beth El of South Orange County is a partner with the Orange County Jewish Coalition for Refugees. And this past week, they hosted 3 information sessions on how we can help Afghan refugees. You can reach out to them, the coalition, for more information. Other organizations like No One Left Behind, who helps families resettle in the US, and Oasis Rescue, who help women in Afghanistan overcome physical, emotional, and financial issues, are also great places to get involved and learn more. As we enter this new year, we realize that there's no shortage of ways to shine light into the world this year. Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova. We have a moment to bring our attention to healing and our prayers and our heart for healing for those of us in our world who are suffering with physical illness or mental illness like addiction. Please go ahead and just say the names of people that you'd like to bring into our healing circle. You can just say them out at once. Rivka Bat Mechaya. Chaya Benyamina. Please rise for Aleinu on page 64.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר ראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 73. And in our synagogue family, we are aware that the following people have passed either this past week for Shiva: Laura Spiegel Sommerfeld, the mother of our member Janet Lauren, and Frances Feldman, the mother of our member Debbie Motenko. We're also still in the Shloshim, the 30-day period, for Michael Gubner, father of Adam Gubner, and Michael Kitai, father of our member Eric Kitai. We're also commemorating the following yahrzeits, the year anniversary. If I say the name of your loved one, please stand in recognition of your connection to them. You can also, if you're at home, you can also stand. Renee Adler, Ruben Bassin, Leon Beck, Irene Brass, Lawrence Cohen, Bernard Cooper, Jerry Covey, Sam Deichman, Sam Diamond, Joan Gendelman, Ira Goodman, Isidore Goodman, Ethel Deichman Gordon, William Gorman, Helen Greenberg, Jack Gumbiner, Albert Haskell, Richard Hepps, Sarah Horowitz, Laureen Hudson, Rabbi Joseph Kalir, Michael Kevorkian, Michael Nussbaum, Julius Leo Oken, Stuart Auerhahn, Jenny Overland, Elizabeth Betty Pomish, Henry Reiner, Glenn Rosen, Rachel Shamas, Mendel Shapiro, Audrey Shilkret, Annie Simmons, William Smith, Lenore Starr, Joe Towell, Sarah Weinberg, Pearl Weinstein, Muriel Weinstein, Maurice Westerman, Judith Westerman, also Leland Weeder. Anybody else we're saying Kaddish for? Thank you. You may stand or sit according to your custom for Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah v'alma divrach herutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uvyomechon v'chayei techol beit Yisrael b'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam olmei olmaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'alal shmei dekudisha brichu le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'yalma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing.
Oseh shalom b'mromav Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom
So High Holy Day worship this year will be offered in person here at the synagogue as well as online. Hope that we will see a lot of you either in person or online. Members in good standing and ticket purchasers can stream services online. Tickets were not mailed. Instead, the tickets may be picked up in person after providing proof of COVID-19 vaccination. High Holy Day services can be streamed online from our website. You just be sure to log into your account and then hover over worship, that menu item, and click on High Holy Days, and you'll see all the links to watch services from there. And during Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur morning services, programming is available for children in grades kindergarten to 6. Childcare is available for children 2 to 5 years old, and you can reserve your child's space by completing the membership renewal form or when purchasing guest tickets. And this you also won't want to miss. After services on Monday night, Tuesday, and Wednesday, next Sunday, September 12th, we're going to have tashlich and shofar blowing. So tashlich, where we cast off our sins with stones or breadcrumbs, that will be at 5 p.m. at Dana Point Pier. There we will have an ice cream truck where you can have free ice cream of your choice there, and you also can bring your own dinner. There's picnic tables there, so make it a thing. We can do tashlich together, hear the shofar blowing, and have ice cream and dinner and be together for the new year. It's my pleasure to invite up Luz Diaz to lead us in Kiddush. This is in honor of Luz's birthday, is that correct? Great.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzah banu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinhilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehila lemikra kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim ki banu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim ve'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinhaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat lechaim.
Dig your mitts in.
Motzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat